It is a wonderful privilege for me today to welcome Dr. Mamphela Ramphele on our program. I'm not sure how I must introduce her. Activist, academic, struggle veteran, leader, writer. I've got in front of me the book, Conversations with My Sons and Daughters. And I must say, I mean, I'm tempted to just read from the book, because so many wonderful one-liners. But Dr. Mamphela, I've met you in person a while ago at a meeting of the Western Cape Ecumenical Network in Franschhoek. And there you talked about the three-legged potjie, the South African potjie, and the missing legs. So we don't need to go back into the conversation, but I want to just pose an opening question to you. The current state of affairs in South Africa, especially after COVID-19, am I right when I say that we had some challenges, but everything was accelerated and enhanced during COVID-19? So how do you see, in short, the main challenge we are facing at the moment?
I guess, Braam, the easiest analogy to use is that we are a dysfunctional family as South Africans. We have this schizophrenia of loving our country very passionately, and this is across the spectrum, and being able to bring out the best in ourselves in some moments, whether it's we are winning the Rugby World Cup, not just in 1995, but even recently, and or we looking at Rabada doing his stuff in cricket, or we're looking at how President Ramaphosa is doing something really amazing. We come out with the best elements of ourselves. But then you just need a little spark, and then you can see the worst of us coming out. So during the COVID crisis, particularly at the beginning, you saw the best in South Africans. I mean, here in my neighborhood and in townships, people who didn't know who their neighbors were suddenly really were concerned about, do you have someone to send to the shops? Because I'm at that age group, I shouldn't be going to the shops. Or is there something that we can do? We've got a few extra bottles of wine. Would you like that kind of thing? And people going out of the way to help with young people. I mean, I'm a patron of the LEAP school system. People, when I raised the question about if only these kids had cell phones that they could use for distance learning, out came the support. So this is why I think we have to come to terms with the fact that there is a level of dysfunctionality in us which can only be explained by the fact that we have not completed the rituals of becoming the nation we would love to become. You know, in my culture, when a child is born, there are certain rituals that have to be done, the naming and where the umbilical cord is buried, etc., and the kind of coaxing of this baby to know that it is part of a very big web of ancient ancestors, grandparents, and those who are yet to be born. And the naming process connects this child. to all of that. This is what has not happened with us. We rushed to the champagne bottles in 1994, but we didn't do the spiritual work, the proper introduction of each and every one of us as we would introduce a new baby to the family network. And that takes care of everybody being able to hold the child in their arms and, bonding. And I think the reason we got away for so long without having done that is that we had this major ritual master in Nelson Mandela, whom we thought was doing it on our behalf so we could get on with our lives. And then he also brought into that public ritualizing that we distantly observed but did not participate in terms of our minds, our souls, and our whole body, which is Tutu. Desmond Tutu's Truth and Reconciliation Commission was meant to open the space for deeper conversations. But we turned it into, as we do so often, a compliance story. You saw those besuited CEOs parading there and distancing themselves from everything that went wrong on the economic and the social side. It was the problem of the apartheid great unwashed. We were forced to do certain things which were quite uncomfortable with, but we took the profits and we keep the wealth. And we are not coming forth and saying, as part and parcel of the healing process, this is what we would like to bring as our contribution. Instead, what do? They go on to negotiate for themselves the best possible outcome, which is you have your cake, you eat it, and it just keeps growing in the fridge and the deep freeze. And the BEE process is the biggest betrayal that the South African corporates conjured up and agreed with the leadership of the ANC to do, because the socioeconomic system of this country cannot be transformed via a BEE mechanism of ticking boxes. It needs to happen in a way that bonds us. So you and I, as Braam and Mamphela, should be having conversations about, Braam, you are in this business. Look at what's happening to the communities around you. How can we work together to help you to create a better environment so that the children born in this Diepsloot or Marikana or Kranspoort or Langa can be able to transcend the shackles of the past?
Dr. Ramphele, I really love the image, the metaphor that you're using about the baby and the rituals. I personally also believe that we haven't spent by far not enough time in restoring the web of relationships, really understanding the social cohesion, even getting to a new social compact between different communities, living still very much within our apartheid framework in our country. Could you be a little bit more specific on the ritual stuff that ordinary people can do in order to move forward to enhance the social cohesion and write a new social compact?
Yes, and I think the first step is to recognize that whatever social cohesion we desire, it's not going to happen because we say so. This government is very good at creating structures that end up substituting for the hard, emotional, healing conversations that should happen. We've got commission on gender equality, we've got commission on religious freedom. None of them have proven to be adequate to the task of helping South Africans to come to terms with the fact that creation, nature, has wisdom in having people who are men and women, people who are different colors, texture of hair, cultures, ways of doing things, languages. If you look at anything, like a little forest, even where we have stripped all the forest, when you go into an indigenous forest, you'll see nature at work. Huh? You see those fungi that are growing on the branches and the trunks of. You see the little hohos that are crawling around. You see, nature at work is intertwined, and nature at work encourages every species in that little forest can only survive if all the other species are surviving. So you've got to be good at what you do as Braam, the Domini. You can't just faff around and go with an half-baked sermon and think that doing sermons on Sunday is being a servant of the Lord. You are not. Your job is much more than that. It's a 24/7 job. You never see the ants taking a holiday. They're at work all the time. And so the social cohesion that we seek, the gender equality, the human dignity that we seek is there. As I've indicated earlier on, we know it's somewhere in us, but we suppress it because we are too focused on matters material, and we think the best way of being successful is to be competitive. Look at nature. The best way of being of being successful is to be supportive. And so, imagine if we were to restructure ministry for you as Dominis. You go and visit. When I grew up, there used to be what they call Hayes Besuk. You visit the family. You have a conversation with the mom and dad, each one individually, to find out how they're doing. Then you bring in the children and find out how they're doing. Oh, so-and-so, Matumi is naughty and so on. Okay, Matumi, how do you see things? You'll find that Matumi is seeing something like the parents pretend to be okay, but actually they are fighting at night, and he hears this and he gets completely frightened of what's going to happen to you. But no one is there for Matumi to speak to. So what does he do? Benzene, glue. Now imagine if we were to rethink our ministries. Imagine if we were to rethink our schools. And good news is that there is a man called John Gilmore who has rethought schooling. He's got the most successful schools that are outperforming the public schools in the worst communities. Diepsloot, Langa, Guguletu Philippi Access, Karangua, Jennifer's in Haskukuni there. How did he do it? This is the thing. We have every tool we need is there in our toolbox. We have in our school curriculum life orientation. Our teachers who are demotivated, many of whom should not be teaching because they are products of apartheid, where there was no option but to be a teacher, they'd use it as a free period. No, John Gilmore has used it as a space for healing. So life orientation is every day in the LEAP school system. When you start school in the morning, you all sit around. They don't have desks, one behind the other. They have little round tables. All the children sit around the tables. And then the teacher is walking amongst them as an enabler of conversation. And what are the conversations? Matumi, how are you today? Well, I'm fine, but I'm really scared today because I left my mother so sick. Okay. Then they talk and then they get the teacher involved, and the teacher has to go and visit the home to find out what's with Matumi's mom so that Matumi can settle in his schooling. But also the teacher may have issues. And so the space is there for the teacher to go to the head of school and to colleagues and say, hey, I've got issues today. These are the issues. So it's an atmosphere of Ubuntu that has been created in each and every classroom, each and every school, and their relationship with the community is not, hey, bring your child here. Why is your child not coming to? No. Okay. Mom, we notice Matumi didn't come to school. Can we help?
Dr. Mamphela, we're running out of time, but this is such a fascinating and important conversation. What I hear from you is that dominees must change from just preaching to facilitating spaces of healing. Healing people, healing the relationships, and we must spend time and energy doing exactly that. The country cries out for that. And we can assist. There are forums that can assist people to do that. But this is your cry. If I may ask you a final question, a final message to the church. The church is in many ways like the country at the present time. It's the best of best, and it's divided, and you hear some bad stuff about churches in the newspapers. Your message, as someone that's loving the country, your message to the church, what would that be?
My message is, you will never find a greater opportunity to be followers of that great teacher who didn't stand on a podium and teach. He went into the homes. He went into the little fishing boats. He went where people were. So my message to the church is, can you become again the church that follows that ultimate teacher, the person who loved us to the extent of giving his life? We're not asking people to give up their lives. We're asking them to engage in the amazing job of healing those who are broken, of putting oil on wounds that are bleeding, and of being people who model humility, respect for human dignity, and who give hope. As Tutu used to say, he's a prisoner of hope. Doesn't matter how dark it is. The church's role is to be that lamp that never goes off. There could be a storm, but it must be that light out there, never going out.
Dr. Mamphela, I sincerely want to thank you for this conversation today. I can relate with so many things that you've said, and thank you for inspiring the church. Thank you for really, again, redefining, emphasizing some of the core stuff that we as dominees need to do now. I really hope that we can continue the conversation and that we can meet in the nearby future in order to work on a new social compact and social cohesion for this wonderful, incredible country that God has given us. Thank you again. May God bless you. And until the next time, Nkosi Sikelele, Africa.
Thank you very much, Braam.